staggered from Larson. And Hurd takes the left hand, fires back the right hand, Larson backs up, a roll to the left eye for Larson out. Then a combination, and that dropped it. An uppercut drops to Larson.
Boxing truth here. I had to talk a little bit about junior middleweight prospect Jarret Hurd, one of the many prospects in Heyman's stable. But from the clip I just shared, you can see that the kid can fight. He's got real skills. He's talented. He's got the size. He's coming off a very good win over another undefeated fighter, and Frank Galarza, who was steamrolling guys for about 2 years, recording a lot of knockouts going into that fight. And a bunch of people never even heard of Jarret Hurd because the guys was fighting nobodies prior to that, very weak opposition. But he showed in that performance against Galarza that the kid can fight, and he could be a problem if he continues to develop and continues to win for any junior middleweight division, because the guy he's a big junior middleweight. You could just see it. He's 6'1", very long wingspan, and he comes to fight. He's got the shoulder roll, but he's very effective with it. Stays in the pocket. He challenges you. He pretty much just says, "Try to hit me," because something's gonna come back to hit you. And that's what I like about Jarret Hurd. He's sharp with his punches, very good counter puncher, very good skills, and he's going to be fighting a tough fighter in Oscar Molina, who's a Mexican Olympian, undefeated, but similar to Jarret Hurd in terms of opposition. He's fought very weak opposition up to this point, but when it comes to who's fought the best fighter in each other's resumes, it's Jarret Hurd. He fought Frank Galarza, who was undefeated, coming off a lot of knockout wins. And Molina earned a draw against another prospect in Dominic Dalton. But Molina's not a bad fighter. He's an okay fighter. He could box a little. He's got good hooks. He's not the fastest guy, but he's got okay speed. He doesn't have the slowest feet either. He's not a bad fighter. He's okay. So it's going to be an interesting fight between these two guys, as I expect some action. Both guys are undefeated prospects stepping up against each other, and it's a great opportunity for both guys to be the co-feature to Thurman Porter, as the initial co-feature Mars and Guerra is canceled. But some people are saying that this fight's even better. It could be a better action-packed fight in the ring, and also perhaps there's more upside for the winner, especially if Jarret Hurd wins, since he's really got some potential, and he could definitely be a problem if he wants it. All he has to do is keep winning and stay motivated, and also beat Oscar Molina this Saturday. But it's a good co-feature. It's a very good replacement, since some were disappointed that Mars had to pull out against Guerra. But when you compare the two co-features, the two fights, Jarret Hurd, Molina, and Mars Guerra, Guerra was the more significant fight, since both guys are further along in their campaigns of their careers. Mars has been a champion. Guerra was holding a regular strap for the WBA featherweight. That would have been an interesting fight, but it's not like either guy, in my opinion, would have been taking over a division or even had potential of doing so. To me, Jesus Guerra is nothing special. And Abner Mares is pretty much at the tail end of his career. I mean, he's got a few fights left in him, but he's not a guy that's going to be dominating any division, especially with Leo Santa Cruz still around. So this fight between Jarret Hurd and Oscar Molina is a good replacement bout as a co-feature to Thurman Porter. Both guys are going to get a lot of exposure. It's going to be on free TV, CBS. And I expect a good viewership for this fight, as it's a long-awaited fight. Both guys has not fought in a long time going in, in Thurman and Porter. But it should be a good viewership for this fight, or maybe around the figure towards towards the numbers that they were producing last year when the PBC first came out, when they first came out with the first few matches, and they were getting solid ratings, over 3 million, 4 million. So I expect that type of rating for Thurman Porter on CBS. We'll see. But it's good exposure for Jarret Hurd, Oscar Molina. I think Hurd is I take Hurd in this fight. I think he should win this fight. He's the bigger guy. He's got a longer reach. He's more talented, more athletic. He's a physical guy. He knows how to counter punch very well. He's throws very sharp punches, uppercuts, straight right hands. Likes to counter off guys' punches with the shoulder roll. Uses the shoulder roll effectively. Very similar to a James Toney back in his heyday, but Hurd has his own type of style where he likes to challenge his opponents. He likes to get right in front of your chest, steps to you, challenges to hit him, and then he pretty much just counters off your punches. In the case of Galarza, recorded a very impressive knockout, just straight trashed him. It was one of the most impressive performances I've seen from a young prospect, especially in quite some time. And it should be a good fight between him, Jarret Hurd, and Oscar Molina. The winner of the fight will move on to bigger and better things, but I expect Jarret Hurd to get his hands raised in this fight, but it won't be easy. I mean, it's boxing. You still have to fight the fights. There's been a few big upsets this year, unexpected results. All it takes is one good shot to pretty much just derail months of training and in a hard training camp and all that work being put in. So, a young prospect like Hurd has to be ready, prepared, and not underestimate his opponents. He's got the style, the potential. He's got some power, the physicality. He's got the size in the division. He's rated by the IBF as number 9. And hopefully he'll be a little more active. It's gonna be 6 months, about 7 months since his last fight. So they got to get him moving a little quicker. He definitely needs to. He's been stepping up his opposition his last 3 fights, because prior to that, it was very weak competition, and that's why you never heard of the guy until maybe when you saw him fight Frank Galarza on Showbox last year. But y'all let me know what y'all think about Jarret Hurd. Are you impressed with what you saw in his last fight? Who you got in this fight? If you haven't heard of him, watch his last fight. You'll be quite pleased with the performance, the way he fought, the way he was able to, break down for Galarza and land his shots within range, and also land devastating counter punches. And he showed some real skills in that ring that night against Frank Galarza. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this fight. Jarret Hurd, if you heard of him, and do you think he is a guy that could perhaps take over the division at 154? Though, of course, it's very early to tell right now. He's only 17 fights. Still needs to fight much better opposition, but slowly but surely he's on his way there, fighting much better competition his last 3 fights. Another undefeated prospect. This is his 3rd undefeated fight in a row he's fighting, and on a big platform as a co-feature to Thurman Porter. A type of slot where you got to bring out your best and wow the fans and put on a very sensational performance, so fans will want to see you and talking and want to talk about you. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.